When your male cat presses his body against yours tonight and closes his eyes, he isn't choosing comfort. He is choosing you as the single safest coordinate in his entire world. And that decision is actively reshaping his brain chemistry in ways science only recently began to map. Most owners spend years assuming their cat just wants warmth, or that male cats sleep beside people out of habit or simple convenience. But a 2019 study from the University of Lincoln found that male cats who co-sleep with a chosen human develop measurably lower baseline cortisol levels than cats who sleep alone, meaning your presence, specifically, is recalibrating his entire nervous system night after night. And there is one thing your cat does in the dark while you sleep, a behavior so subtle that almost no owner ever catches it, that is the most honest, complete signal he will ever give you about how he sees you. We are going to get to exactly what that is. But first, here is what most people have been getting completely wrong. Most owners think a male cat sleeping in the bed is about physical needs. Warmth, a soft surface, proximity to food and security. And on the surface, that seems reasonable. Male cats are territorial, often independent, sometimes indifferent to physical contact during the day. So when they climb into your bed at night, the easy assumption is that they are simply making a practical choice. The warmest spot happens to be next to you. Here is what nobody tells you. That assumption has been quietly costing you one of the most meaningful things your cat will ever offer. Because male cats, specifically male cats, have a very different relationship with sleep than female cats do. In the wild, sleep is a male cat's most exposed, most dangerous state. He cannot hunt. He cannot escape. He cannot defend. Every instinct he carries across thousands of years of evolution is telling him to sleep hidden, sleep alone, sleep where nothing can find him. So when a male cat chooses to sleep pressed against your body, his back against your ribs, his head resting on your hand, his breath slowing to match yours, he is overriding every survival signal in his biology. And most owners go their cat's entire life never realizing what that override actually means. There is one moment we are going to come back to near the end of this, one specific behavior that happens while you are both asleep, in the quiet hours when no one is watching. A behavior that, once you understand it, will change the way you feel every single morning you wake up with your cat beside you. Keep that in mind as we go through everything here, because it builds on all of it. Before we get into the sections, there is something worth mentioning. A person who watches this channel shared a story a few months ago that stayed with me. She had a large male tabby, neutered, about 4 years old, generally independent during the day, not particularly cuddly. Then, one winter, she went through a period of severe anxiety, job loss, the kind of stress that sits in the body before it reaches the mind. She didn't change anything about his routine. Same feeding time, same apartment, same everything. But within 2 weeks, her cat had gone from sleeping at the foot of the bed to sleeping pressed directly against her chest every single night. She thought it was the cold weather. She thought he had just gotten more affectionate with age. She had no idea, and this is what made her story so striking, that her cat's behavior had changed in direct biological response to something happening inside her body that she hadn't even fully acknowledged to herself yet. We will come back to her and her cat, because what was actually happening between them that winter explains something important about everything we are about to cover. 1. Your male cat has placed you inside his inner sanctuary. In a moment, we are going to talk about what this actually looks like in his body, because there are physical signs you can observe right now that confirm this is happening. But first, here is the part most owners never fully understand about what territory means to a male cat. Male cats divide the world into zones. Most people understand territory in a surface sense, spraying, patrolling, marking. But territory is not just space. For a male cat, it is emotional and layered in ways that go much deeper than ownership. There are outer patrol zones where he stays alert, watches movement, assesses threat. There are transitional spaces where he tolerates others, but never fully relaxes. And then, sitting at the very center of his world. There is what behaviorists call the core zone, the place he retreats to when injured, when frightened, when sick. The place where he allows himself to be completely, fully vulnerable. That place, for a male cat who sleeps with you, is your bed. And more precisely, it is the space directly beside your body. Think about that for a second. Every single night, your cat is choosing the most exposed state he can be in, and choosing to be in it right next to you. He isn't just sleeping near you, he is making you the center of the safest place in his world. To your cat, this is not affection in this soft, casual sense most people picture. This is a deliberate, survival-level decision that he makes every single night, over and over, thousands of nights across his life. Most owners go their cat's entire life never realizing they were ever chosen like this. They see a cat on the bed. They do not see the declaration behind it. If he presses his back against you while he sleeps, that is worth paying attention to. Cats do not expose their backs casually. The back is where they cannot see. In cat language, turning his back to you during sleep means there is nothing in his world he trusts more than you to cover that angle. He has decided that the part of himself he cannot protect, you will protect. He is not just sleeping beside you. He is delegating his own safety to you. And in the instinct-driven world of a male cat, there is almost nothing that statement costs more to make. 2. His body is synchronizing with yours in a way that neither of you consciously controls. Here's where it gets really interesting. And here is where most owners realize something has been happening to them too, not just to their cat. Cats can detect a human heartbeat from several feet away. Their hearing range extends well below the frequencies humans consciously register, and their sensory sensitivity during rest is extraordinary. When your male cat curls up touching your body, your legs, your side, your chest, he is not simply enjoying warmth, he is tuning into your rhythm. And over time, something measurable begins to happen between you. This process is called physiological entrainment. It is the tendency of two biological systems in close proximity to fall into synchronized rhythmic patterns. You see it between mothers and newborns, between long-term partners who have shared a bed for years, and between male cats and the humans they have fully bonded with. His breathing gradually aligns with yours. His heart rate adjusts toward yours. His muscle tension follows the relaxation signals your sleeping body broadcasts into the air around it. A 2017 study published in Applied Animal Behavior Science found that cats in close physical contact with a bonded human during sleep showed significantly reduced activation in the amygdala, the region of the brain that processes threat and fear, compared to cats sleeping alone. His brain, while touching you, is literally turning down its fear response. You are the signal that tells his nervous system, nothing here needs to be watched tonight. Here is what most people miss about this. The synchronization runs in both directions. Your body is doing the same thing in response to him. The low-frequency vibration of a cat's purr, typically between 25 and 50 Hz, has been shown across multiple independent studies to reduce cortisol in humans, lower blood pressure, and promote deeper, slow-wave sleep stages. You are not just providing a calm environment for him. He is actively, physiologically, building one for you, every single night. Most owners lose years of this understanding, thinking the arrangement is one-directional. Their cat is getting something warm to sleep against. The reality is a two-way biological conversation happening silently, in the dark, that neither of you planned. 3. He has memorized you in ways that would genuinely surprise you. Stay with me here because this one changes how you will think about every ordinary evening routine you have ever had. In a series of studies using continuous motion tracking inside multi-cat households, researchers discovered something that initially seemed almost impossible to explain. Male cats began positioning themselves near the bedroom, not when their owners started getting ready for bed, but 20 to 30 minutes before their owners showed any outward sign of preparing for sleep. Owners who genuinely had no consistent schedule, no fixed bedtime, no visible routine. Their cats knew anyway. What those cats had mapped was not a routine in the human sense. They had memorized what behaviorists call pre-sleep behavioral signatures, the specific microsequence that every person performs unconsciously in the same order every single night before sleep. The sound of a particular app closing on your phone, the way you shift your weight when your body begins releasing melatonin, the subtle change in your breathing when your eyes start feeling heavy, the order in which you turn off lights. One researcher described it as a cat having learned to read a language their human did not even know they were speaking. And your male cat does not just observe this, he responds to it. If you have ever noticed your cat becoming more present, more vocal, or physically nudging you toward the bedroom at a certain point in the evening, that is not neediness or habit. That is your cat exercising something behaviorists call social sleep facilitation. He is gently, persistently moving you toward the part of the day he values most, the part where your bond is most fully expressed, where his nervous system is most at rest, where you are, to him, most completely yourself. He has been managing your evenings with more intention than you ever gave him credit for. And hey, if this is making you see your cat completely differently, hit subscribe. It is the best way to help other cat owners find out what their cats have been trying to tell them. 4. Where he sleeps on the bed is a specific sentence about your relationship. Here's what most people don't realize. Sleeping position is not random. It is not about space or temperature in any simple sense. Every position a male cat takes on your bed is a deliberate expression of where he sees himself in relation to you and what role he believes he holds in your shared life. If your cat sleeps above your head, on or near your pillow, that is a combination of protection and deep trust expressed at the same time. Height gives him the widest visual field to monitor the room. Choosing to use that elevated position directly behind your most vulnerable point, your head and neck, means he has taken on the role of primary guardian. That position says, I am watching over the thing I care about most from the safest vantage point I have. If he sleeps at the foot of the bed, that is what researchers call guardian distance. It is far more common in male cats than in females, and it reflects a specific balance between emotional closeness and territorial responsibility. From the foot of the bed, he maintains enough physical separation to react instantly to any movement in the room, while staying within the emotional radius of your shared space. Think of it less as distance and more as a post. He has chosen a post, and you are what he is posted to protect. Most owners interpret this as their cat being less attached. They have it exactly backwards. Their cat has taken a job. And then there is the rarest position of all. Full contact, curled against your chest, your stomach, pressed along your side, with his head resting near your heart. This behavior has a direct line back to the earliest days of a cat's life. Kittens press against their mother this way for warmth, for heartbeat regulation, for survival. It is the position of complete surrender to another being's safety. For an adult male cat, independent, territorial, wired by evolution to sleep alert and alone, to curl against your body this way means something profound and irreversible. He is not just near you. He has returned emotionally to the only other state in his life where he ever felt this fully safe. He has made you his anchor. And most owners who see this think their cat found a comfortable spot. What they are actually seeing is the highest expression of trust a male cat is capable of offering. 5. While you sleep, he is still working. Here's what most owners would never guess about what actually happens after the lights go out and the room goes quiet. Your male cat is never fully asleep the way you are. Studies using infrared observation and EEG monitoring in domestic cats found that male cats in co-sleeping arrangements cycle through what researchers call micro-wakefulness states 7 to 9 times during a single 8-hour sleep period. Each episode lasts only seconds, but during those seconds, he performs a complete environmental assessment. Eyes open slightly, ears rotating toward sound sources independently of each other, nostrils sampling the air for chemical signals. Then he settles back down. This is not a disruption or a dysfunction. This is an ancient inherited behavior that has never been bred out of even the most domesticated cat. In the wild, no predator can afford to sleep through the night without checking. Even the deepest rest carries watchfulness woven through it like thread. And in your home, with your body beside him, that watchfulness is not directed outward, abstractly into the dark. It is directed specifically, deliberately, at you. Here is what is extraordinary about this. Researchers found that a male cat's frequency and duration of these nighttime checks changes directly based on your sleep quality. If you're sleeping deeply and peacefully, breathing slowly, his checks become shorter, less frequent. His nervous system registers that all is well. But if you are restless, breathing irregularly, waking often, his vigilance increases. He repositions himself closer. Some cats have been observed pressing their head gently against their owner during these moments, without fully waking, a reflex so quiet the owners never knew it happened. This goes back thousands of years. Even before cats were fully domesticated, the relationship between cats and humans was partly defined by this mutual alertness, cats sensing changes in the human environment, humans providing stable shelter and warmth in return. What your cat is doing at 3 a.m. when the room is completely dark and you are deep in slow wave sleep is something his ancestors were doing beside human settlements long before the concept of a pet existed. He is keeping watch for you, without being asked, without being trained, because somewhere in the architecture of what he is, you have become something worth guarding. And some male cats, not all, but some, have been observed waking their owners in the seconds just before an alarm sounds, not because they hear the alarm coming, but because they have learned the subtle shift in human breathing that occurs in the final minute before natural waking. They recognize it, and they are there, present and still, watching you before you have even opened your eyes. He is not just sleeping with you, he is standing guard over your sleep from the inside. 6. The moment that changes everything. And what was really happening with that cat and his owner that winter? Remember earlier when I said there is one specific behavior most owners never catch? The one that, once you understand it, changes how you feel every single morning you wake up beside your cat. This is it. And this is where we come back to the woman with the large male tabby. When a male cat who is fully bonded to a human enters the deepest phase of co-sleep contact, something remarkable begins to happen in the hours between midnight and 4 a.m., when both species are in their deepest sleep stages. The cat begins what researchers have called anchoring behavior. He shifts slightly, adjusts his position, and then, often so gently that the person beside him feels nothing, he presses his forehead, or the crown of his skull, against the body of the human he has chosen. Sometimes the chest, sometimes the shoulder, sometimes the side of a sleeping face. He holds that contact for a moment, sometimes longer, and then he goes still. This is not repositioning for comfort. It is a scent-marking behavior, so intimate, so deliberate, so costly in behavioral terms that it only occurs in a state of complete and total emotional safety. A cat's forehead contains some of the highest concentrations of pheromone-producing glands in their entire body. When he presses that point against you during sleep, he is not simply touching you. He is marking you in the deepest, most ancient, most personal way a cat is biologically capable of, as belonging to the same world as him, as part of what is his, not in the possessive sense, in the protective sense, in the irreplaceable sense. Cats do not do this with furniture. They do not do this with walls. They do not do this with other cats they merely tolerate or share space with out of circumstance. They do this with the beings they have decided cannot be replaced, the beings whose absence would genuinely reorganize their world. And now, the woman with the tabby. What her cat had detected, weeks before she said anything to anyone, before she had fully named what she was going through, was a sustained, elevated cortisol signature in her body chemistry. Stress has a scent, not a dramatic one, not one humans can consciously register, but cats can. The biochemistry of prolonged human anxiety produces measurable changes in skin temperature, in breath chemistry, in the pheromone profile that every living body continuously broadcasts into the air around it. Her cat had been reading it for weeks. What he was doing every night, pressing himself against her chest, anchoring himself to her, marking her with the most intimate gesture in his entire emotional vocabulary, was not a response to cold weather. It was not a coincidence of timing. It was a direct, biological, instinct-driven response to something happening inside her that she hadn't yet told anyone. His nervous system recognized her distress and moved him, physically and completely, toward her. Night after night, in the dark, while she slept, he pressed his forehead to her chest and held it there. She didn't know she needed to be held. He did. That is what your male cat is doing when he sleeps beside you. That is what has been happening, possibly for years, in the quiet hours you have slept through. His love is not loud. It is not performed for you to see and interpret during the day. It happens in micro-movements in the dark. It happens in the press of a forehead you will probably sleep through every single night of your life together. It happens in the slight repositioning when your breathing changes, in the ears that rotate toward a sound you didn't hear, in the decision, made again every night without fail, to place himself between you and whatever the dark might hold. The next time your male cat settles against your body and goes still, in the quiet, before you fall asleep, in the space between the world and wherever sleep takes you, understand what you are actually holding. You are holding an animal whose every evolutionary instinct told him to sleep hidden, sleep alert, sleep alone. And instead, every night, he comes back. He positions himself. He tunes his nervous system to yours. He stands guard while you dream. He marks you with the center of his face, because in his language, there is no higher thing he can give. You are not just where he happens to be comfortable. To him, you are the safest place that exists. And every single night that he chooses to be beside you, that is exactly what he is trying to say.